If your Klaviyo bill keeps going up and feels expensive and your attribution seems way off, you're not alone. But the issue isn't Klaviyo, it's actually how everything is set up. So the first thing that I see is like when people are looking at Klaviyo's pricing, they're actually comparing this to other platforms and other tools out there that are cheaper. And there's no denying that there is cheaper platforms out there. However, you pay for what you get. And if you want a cheaper solution, you're gonna get a tool that's just not as good. So like there's a trade-off that you have to look at here. And just for context, we've worked with over 100 e-commerce brands. We've generated hundreds of millions in retention revenue. And we work with some of the biggest e-commerce brands in the world. And all of these big brands, they're using Klaviyo. They're not using some of these smaller, cheaper alternatives because you're not getting a good enough product. And at the end of the day, if you're using the product properly, you're gonna see a higher ROI. And really, if it feels expensive, it's because you're not generating enough revenue from Klaviyo. And we actually have an ad angle around this, but it's just the truth. Like if it feels expensive, it's not being used properly. So you need to make sure that you can generate more revenue from Klaviyo. So you might ask like, how can you generate more revenue from Klaviyo? Well, I would just say like most people aren't using the platform properly, where they'll just have basic flows set up and they'll send a couple of campaigns. So you need to make sure that you're leveraging everything. You have email, you have SMS, push notifications if it's relevant to your brand, but then having like proper advanced flows in there. Don't just have like 3 or 4 emails in your band and checkout. Have it built out properly. We have like 10 emails in there. You have different conditional splits, different logics for different products, different A/B tests. And then the same with like campaigns. Send more campaigns, send more volume, run A/B tests, send to the right segmentation, leverage Klaviyo's data, leverage everything in there and just like do more, and you will see the ROI and it will be completely worth it. Honestly, like we have some clients that don't even care about their Klaviyo bill because they make so much money from it. Another thing that you can do as well is just remove your unengaged profiles. Like when we audit brands, there's a lot of profiles in there that have like never opened an email, but they have received like 50 emails in the past and they've never like opened or clicked or purchased. Like those people, just get rid of them. And you can suppress profiles and they'll still be on the Klaviyo account. They just won't be active and you won't be paying for them. So I definitely recommend like doing a full list cleanup and you can suppress them. You can also get a platform like Zero Bounce, which will actually validate and emails, and it'll get rid of like probably like 5 to 15% of the profiles of people that just like are inactive email boxes. And then you can also use a platform like Orita. We're partners with them. We work with them on a bunch of our clients. Orita is basically like an AI segmentation platform, and they'll like manually suppress or automatically suppress, should I say, some profiles. It'll also get rid of all of the bot profiles as well, which there could be like, 1 to 5% of bot profiles on your Klaviyo account that you're actually paying for. So you can do that as well. But I would say the biggest thing here is that the person or the team managing this, they're not doing it properly. Because if you're giving out about the bill, it's probably because of the performance, and then because of the performance right down to the person who's managing it. So if that's an in-house team, like it's really tough to manage an in-house team, by the way. So like retention and email is one of those things I definitely do recommend outsourcing. And if you have that to a different agency and you're still giving out about the bill, they're probably not generating enough revenue from Klaviyo. And look, if you want us to do a full retention audit for your e-commerce brand, click the first link in the description. If you want to make sure you're generating so much money from it, like I'm pretty sure one of our clients was like over 100x what they paid Klaviyo, they were generating every single month. So just make sure that you have that done properly. And look, if you're unsure about this, or if you're questioning the revenue coming from there or who's managing it, just book in a call. We can do an audit and we can go through the whole process and we'll let you know if there's revenue being left on the table. It's all about framing as well, where you'll probably spend like a couple of thousand or tens of thousands on ads every single day, but then you give out, when you get this Klaviyo bill that comes out once per month, like I'm sure your Klaviyo bill is probably like the same as like your daily ad spend, maybe even less. And if you just look at the amount of revenue that it generates, it's completely worth it. You know what I mean? So it's just really important that you reframe that as well, that this is like a massive asset to the business, but just make sure that all cylinders are firing, make sure it's being done properly, and make sure that like you have like what you're paying your retainer, or you're paying your agency, or you're paying your team in-house, make sure that like it's all worth it. You know what I mean? And don't just track like email percentage. And this is what I'll talk about as well with the attribution. You want to make sure you're actually looking at the real raw data. Like look at the LTV, look at your repeat customer rate, look at your returning customer revenue. Like look at all of these proper metrics rather than just looking at the Klaviyo dashboard. Because if you've never looked at the Klaviyo attribution settings, they are over attributed. They have like a massive window. It's like 5-day click, 5-day open, and you can go in and change that. It's very simple. Like, just stop what you're doing right now. You can obviously book in a call below, but after that, just go onto Klaviyo and you can change your attribution settings, or just look at it. There's a comparison table where you can look at the difference from like a 5-day to a 1-day. Generally, there's not much of a difference. If you have your attribution settings like a 10-day all the way to like a 1-day, there isn't that much difference. It's when you start getting into the hours that it really makes a difference. And we have a lot of clients that have changed this. Sometimes like people will give out attribution. We're like, look, we'll change this. We'll get like the actual true number and how much money is coming from the Klaviyo platform. That's obviously not all retention, because there's other things that we do in retention like direct mail and stuff like that, but it's really important. Like, and when we're doing reporting, we'll report on the returning customer rate, your LTV and stuff like that. And really, when you know retention is working is when your LTV is just getting higher and higher, like after 30 days, after 90 days, after 180 days, and also after like a year and beyond that as well. So that's it. We see this all the time. E-commerce brands giving out about their Klaviyo bill, giving out that things are over attributed, and you can fix it. It's pretty simple. Just make sure it's being leveraged properly, and then make sure that you truly understand the actual revenue that's coming from it. And if you do those two things, you're not going to have an issue anymore. You're not going to be looking at cheaper alternatives that's actually going to contract your business and make things worse or make it smaller, just so you can squeeze a little bit of profit. And also, like, you get what you pay for. I just want to share a story here. Like, we had a client before that we worked with them for a very long time, and they left because they wanted to save like a couple of $1,000 on their retainer every single month. And I remember, like, this one hit me personally because it was actually like someone that was close with. We had done a lot with their business. You know, I was very involved with a lot of the marketing, not just on the retention side. And I was like, just to let you know, you're trying to save a couple of $1,000 here. That's going to cost you tens of thousands, because they were going to work with a cheaper agency. And, you know, they regretted that massively, because they basically work with a cheaper agency that everything was outsourced overseas, no true management inside of that company. And then they were getting worse results, and we still had access, and we seen their revenue go down and down and down. They're trying to save a couple of thousand, but they're losing tens of thousands. And this is the same as if you move platform. Like, if you're moving from Klaviyo to a cheaper alternative, you're going to see worse results. If that's with deliverability, if that's just with like the functions that it has and stuff like that. Okay. Like, we seen this a couple of years ago when SendLane was on the scene. It's like everyone was getting big commission checks to go to SendLane, and especially like some influencers in this space as well were really pushing this. And then what happened is, like, the platform wasn't developed enough. There was a bunch of bugs, a bunch of issues. No one actually liked using it. The agencies got paid, or, you know, brands got a good deal. They saved money. But then they all end up moving back to Klaviyo because it wasn't doing what it was supposed to do, okay? And we see this all the time as well. There's other e-commerce platforms that are like this that will grow really quickly, and then they can't support the customer support service. They can't fix the bugs quick enough. They don't have enough developers. Then it all just goes downhill. So if your Klaviyo bill feels expensive, or you don't trust your attribution, click the first link in the description and we'll do a full retention audit for your e-commerce brand. Talk to you soon.